There were other blacks who had been nominated to go into the academy. What happened with them? Five. What happened with them?
Okay. None stayed more than a year.
Why not?
Well, we really don't have a lot of information from the principals themselves. No one wrote anything in detail. One fellow from South Carolina did. In general, you have to look at three things. One, academics. And for the most part, I believe that those who preceded me were as well qualified academically as any of their classmates. But two, there was a hazing. And the hazing was really to the extent of being unbearable. They kept them from studying. They kept them from sleeping. They gave them demerits. Hazing, the height of hazing was what happened to Johnson Whitaker at West Point. He failed to show up for muster one morning, and the cadet officer just assumed that he'd overslept. Went to his room, and what a mess. He was lying in a pool of blood. His hair was out in big clunks in his head, blood all over his wall. He was in his shorts, and there was a threatening note on the desk saying, "We're going to get you," and so forth. Sent for the duty surgeon, who advised the superintendent that he thought that the colored cadet was faking, because he was unconscious. All of this. Not only that, they ended up court-martialing him. Now, he had been there for 4 years. He was a junior. He was not a freshman. He was a junior. And his roommate at one time had been the guy who graduated, Flipper. They court-martialed him. And the weirdest part is they found him guilty. However, the court-martial was reversed by President Arthur, Chester Arthur, at the recommendation of Lincoln, the Secretary of War, who was Abraham Lincoln's son. No, that has anything to do with it. But they offered to send him back to West Point. But after 6 years, he said he'd already had about enough.
Mm-hmm.
Now, before Clinton left office, he restored this fellow to the Army ranks and promoted him to second lieutenant.
Well, better late than never.
Okay.
So, are you saying that some of the five who went before you had perhaps suffered similar kinds of experiences?
Well, not physical, but again, if you are in a situation where you have 2 hours or 3 hours to prepare for tomorrow's program, whatever, academics, and people are coming in and out and asking you questions or making you do push-ups or what have you, or even physically assaulting you. For example, some of the fellows who didn't make it at West Point were court-martialed several times for getting into fights. But again, this was something that, if you looked at it, I made it very clear that if any guy would put his hands on me there, we were going to go round and round. I was going to let anybody beat me. Of course, I was 120 pounds, but I was going to make a show of it. I was very little then.